folks to put their name and contact information and indicate whether or not you're a Greenfield resident and or you own or work at a business in Greenfield and the name of the business if you can. I'm going to run through this, so a quick presentation, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers, and then at the end we'll hold it open again for anyone who needs to record their contact information. I want you to know that we are creating a list of anyone who's interested in receiving the application and application materials that we will be making available. And that those, if you want to be on that list, or if you know of anyone who wants to be on that list, they should be in touch with Robin Fordham at the Community Development Office in Greenfield. All right, that said, my name's MJ Adams. I'm the Director of Community and Economic Development for the City of Greenfield. Also on the line are staff from my office, and that is Lindsay Rowe, who is our Community Development Administrator, and Robin Fordham, who is our Grant Program Assistant. We also have John Waite on the call and in the meeting, and John Waite is the Executive Director of the Franklin County Community Development Corporation, and his organization has been running the City of Greenfield's small business loan funds for a number of years. So let me briefly go through what we're here to accomplish today. We know that this COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting close down of businesses and the interruption in people's cash flow and revenues is really creating some economic stress for many people, for most people, in fact. And we are looking to take some of our existing community development block grant resources and make those available to help small businesses in a very short relative time, just so you can get your feet under you and just hold things together until the broader impact is evident to businesses, and also giving you time to access some of the federal programs that have been made available. We understand that the federal programs have been in very high demand, and are hopeful that there's another batch coming out of Paycheck Protection Program funds that are coming today. But we really encourage small businesses to explore that, get some assistance from your banks or from the CDC in terms of understanding whether or not that's a program you could access, because we do know that our block grant funds are modest and are not going to fill the need that exists out there. So we're looking to use our funds as a way to sort of hold the edges together until you get a better plan, or get a plan and make some decisions about other resources and your continued operations. So the purpose of this hearing is to talk about reprogramming. We had put in our ad reprogramming fiscal year 18 and 19 community development block grant funds to create this new small loan program. I'm going to make a correction in that as the information has been coming out in terms of how we need to reprogram these funds, this hearing is only going to discuss the fiscal year 19 funding that we have available because of some requirements they have on public hearings for using the fiscal year 18 money. And I want to share with you that we will be having another one of these public hearings on May 13th to talk about the fiscal year 18 funds and reprogramming it to be in support of this loan program. So the city is requesting to use some funding, approximately $100,000 from existing commercial improvement program funds, which we currently have earmarked to use for sign and facade rehabilitations in our downtown. Of that $100,000, $50,000 of it is in the fiscal year 19 program, $50,000 is in the 18 program. We are also exploring other resources that might be made available to us through the federal legislation that was passed in early April. We don't have the details of that yet, but again, that will be the subject of the May 13th public hearing. So we will be looking to provide these funds for assistance to for-profit businesses here in Greenfield. We've structured our preliminary draft program so that we would first target the micro enterprise businesses, and those are businesses with actually less than 6 full-time equivalents. It's 5 or fewer full-time equivalents employees. And one of those employees, one of those 5 or fewer, needs to be the owner of the company, owner of the business. And then we're looking to have a second phase, which would serve businesses that were slightly larger, but actually have less than 11 employees. We would have 10 full-time employees or less. We're trying to, we don't typically run a economic development program with our current block grant funds, so there has been a lot of information that we've had to come up to speed on. And in addition to that, the federal legislation that was passed in early April is allowing some flexibility, and we're waiting to see what they mean by that. So the purpose of this hearing today is to present the program and to hear comment back from the community, and then for us to move forward once we receive that to finalize our program design and do the administrative work we need to do to make the program real and then roll that out. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and just give you some brief description, a brief summary. It's been on the website, our town website, for the last, well, since April 17th is when we posted the draft. We've not changed it since then. And as I said, our first effort will be to do a phase 1, which will be for micro-enterprise businesses. The idea is that even though it will be initially given out as a loan, it will be forgiven after you've documented that you have spent it as according to plan. And we're looking for the micro enterprises, we will provide up to $5,000 for business expenses, which can include payroll, salary, healthcare, rent, mortgage interest, and inventory. We will be looking to do the income documentation of the owner of that business, and that's the household income of the owner of the business. So it will be the net income generated from the business plus the household, plus the income from any other members of your household. So if you have a partner that works, or if you have adult children living in the household who are not full-time students, any of that income would be calculated in to see whether or not you would be eligible for the program. Just to give you a sense of what that means, if you're a family of 4, you need to have income of less than $70,950 a year. So we will be doing that income documentation. Then the second phase will be for businesses that are slightly larger but still relatively small. Again, we're looking to qualify it either by the owner of the business and their income, or there is some opportunity to qualify it by the workers in the business, but we're trying to get better guidance on that. So I believe that our initial outreach with this program will really be targeted towards the micro enterprise businesses. Again, we'll be offering forgivable loans up to $1,000 for each FTE with a cap of $10,000 total that would be available to that company. And again, like I said, they would be forgivable for the same expenses, you know, payroll, salaries, healthcare, rent, mortgage, inventory, would be forgivable upon documentation that that is what you indeed spent the money on. Eligibility, the business must be located in Greenfield. It must have been in operation as of March 1st, 2019, and continued operations through March 18th of 2020. Again, it describes a little of the micro enterprises, you know, 5 or fewer, small businesses or 10 or fewer employees. And the business must either be open now as an essential business or intend to reopen as allowed by guidance that will be issued from the governor. We are looking to put the applications out as soon as possible. I believe that in the first take, it might very well be first come, first serve will be how we're processing it, because we are looking at these funds to go out the door as quickly as possible for businesses that meet the criteria, because we do understand the need for some resources to the small business community. All right. That said, I'm going to stop and see if there are any questions. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask it, or you can raise your hand if I can see you.
I have a quick question for you.
Can you identify yourself, please?
This is Kate McGregor with Adam and Eve. If there happened to be additional funds after applicants had applied, would you consider like giving more to maybe the micro businesses after the fact?
Could you repeat the question, please?
If there were additional funds available after everybody that had been applied or the funds had been distributed, for all of the, the rules you just outlined, would there be a consideration for a micro business to get additional money over $5,000?
I would say yes, there would be that possibility. Clearly, we want to make sure that we get funds out to people who need it to sort of hold the edges together, but it seems to make sense. And we don't know the full scope of the other money that's coming our way from the more recently passed CARES Act. So if it needs to be more than that, and I think part of the challenge has been, as we've seen that some of the federal programs, it's hard for the very small businesses to get access to those. So my answer would be yes, that we'd be open to consideration on upping the amount. We do have to live with some limits from the CDBG regulations, but I think it allows you could go all the way up to $35,000 per employee. I doubt that we will have that type of resource available, but we would consider it, yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I should also say that we're looking to engage the Franklin County CDC staff to administer this program with us. They've got the experience in running these type of programs. John, do you want to hop in and say anything?
Yes, thank you very much. So as MJ said, we've been running a loan program using these similar funds for almost probably 25, 30 years. So this is a new thing, and we're excited that we're able to make grants out of it, given the situation. We do have other loan funds as well, and we are also looking into getting more. These CDBG funds are focused per town or city, and we're hoping other towns in Franklin County will also use them. But then we're also looking to the EDA, Economic Development Administration, for another pot of money, both for subsidized loans and or grants that we would be managing. And we'll know more about that in the next week or two. So, getting back to your question, Kate, hopefully there is other, chunks of money. It's not huge, so getting 5, 10 out to a lot of different businesses is kind of our aim at the beginning. But as more funds become available, obviously you have to be careful, no double dipping. If you've got the PPP and that's paying for salaries, then you can't use CDBG money for that. But we know you have many different needs. So those are some of the questions that we might also be asking, as you apply for it, just so we stay within those guidelines. But we'll be seeking other funds as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there someone there with a question? I'm sorry, we're not able to understand what you're saying. Could you try that again, please? If people are having a hard time connecting, I also want to share my, our phone number is the Community Development Office, 772-1548. Robin is at extension 4. I will be back in my office this afternoon, and I am extension 2. We are also available via email, and we will also accept comments or any concerns that you want to email or call in to us by end of day today.
MJ, one other question is, I think we want people's latest financials. We say tax returns for 2019 if they haven't done them yet, since they're not required. I think we'd like to see your internal financials for 2019 and then taxes for 2018.
This is true, yes. And as I said, I'm hoping that, say again, please? We will be putting more information out onto our website, and if we have your contact information, we are more than happy to email information to you, and we will do that as soon as we have it available. We are creating a running list at my office with Robin Fordham, and that will be a contact list that we will reach out to everybody anytime we have an update or are sending out applications or information. You will be included on that list. And Robin's email is robin.fordham@greenfield-ma.gov. All right. Are there any other questions or comments? I would expect to see something up on our website, an update and perhaps an application no later than Thursday morning. So I'm hopeful that we can move forward in this. We will need to have some conversations with our state program reps, but we're hoping that this money could be reprogrammed and out the door fairly quickly. I would encourage everybody to, like John said, gather together your financial information and your employee information so that we can see the employment that you have in your business, and then we'll move forward on that. Again, I will be in my office this afternoon if anyone wants to call in and has any other questions, and if you'd like any other comments to submit before the end of the day, before 5 o'clock today, please email those to lindsay.rowe, R-O-W-E, @greenfield-ma.gov. All right.
MJ, can you just remind us what's the amount of money for this particular public hearing and reprogramming?
Sure. For this particular public hearing and reprogramming, we are talking about taking our $50,000 that we have in our CDBG 19 commercial improvement for sign and facades and making that available. Then the next public hearing we will have on May 13th, we'll talk about moving another $50,000 from our fiscal year 18 program and additional resources that we have coming our way, we believe, from the state CARES, or the CDBG CARES Act, which is the additional appropriation from Congress that was made in early April. So immediately 50,000, soon another 50,000 plus.
Great, thanks.